I remember looking at a map, picking where we would go. And we had relatives in the US, which is how we kind of came to the conclusion that US would probably be the wisest option, because there is the least threat of war, there's a really great economic opportunity, as we have relatives here. Not a lot at the time. At the time it was just my mom's cousin in Minneapolis. But we decided that everybody loved America in the Soviet Union. It was just the most glorious, glamorous place to go. So obviously we wanted to come to America. Because it was still the Soviet Union and the borders were still closed, we couldn't tell anybody, so it was like this big secret that we were gonna leave, and my parents were gathering up all this paperwork and doing all these procedural things that you have to do, but we couldn't tell anybody at school. But once in a while, I would notice that all of a sudden a kid would disappear from school, and then another kid would disappear, and it was typically Jews. And that was kind of the joke, that a kid would disappear and you would say, oh, I didn't know he was Jewish. Like, that's how we found out. And that's kind of what happened to us. And I remember a teacher interrogating me saying, well, you know, we know who you are. Are you going to leave as well? And I remember saying, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't know. And they would say, are your parents gathering paperwork? Do you know? And I would say, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. And then one day I remember we stopped going to school. It was about a week or 2 weeks before we immigrated. We stopped going to school, and I just remember this tremendous feeling that something big was going to happen to us. But to me, it just felt like a big adventure. I remember my dream in the Soviet Union. I thought the way royalty does it is, if you're royal, if I could have anything I wanted in the world, I would have sunflower seeds without the shells, shelled sunflower seeds. I would have somebody shell them for me, and I would eat a banana and throw the peels on the floor. Because in the Soviet Union, we would get 4 bananas a year. My dad would get them at work for a bonus. He would get 4 bananas, and they were green. And we kept it under the bed until they ripened, under our bed until the bananas ripened. So I thought I would eat bananas all the time and throw the peels on the floor, and I would wear faded jeans and shoes with Velcro, because you couldn't get any of those things in the Soviet Union. And I come to the US and I understood that bananas, okay, I can get bananas. And I found Velcro shoes. And then I was in a grocery store and I saw sunflower seeds without shells. And I was like, I was just kidding before. I didn't think this was actually possible, but they shell sunflower seeds. I didn't understand how to function in this society. So I just kind of, you know, floundered through until I met my husband. And my husband comes from such a completely different family, where everybody always knew exactly how to live in this culture, and they've taken full advantage of this culture. And he's always been very straightforward and definitive about what I need to do. Here's how you live in this country. Here's what you do. So and I wouldn't say it's with his direction, but it's kind of with his help. Anytime I flounder, he says, well, obviously you should get an MBA. Well, obviously, you know, you should take this opportunity and this opportunity. So I feel like things have fallen together nice, knock on wood, nicely for me. I actually, ironically, ended up working with Russians and ended up managing Russians. And I try to help them bridge the gap between their Russian culture and American culture. There's a big gap. and the two don't understand each other. So I definitely try to do that. I try to bring American business to their very Russian eyes and bring their Russian perspective, which is also a big deal, to my American bosses' counterparts' eyes. So I feel like I'm doing a good job bridging different people's experiences and making people communicate with each other. I think it's all about the individual. It's all about the individual.